And by the way, thank you, Kevin, for being on with us, and thanks for all the work you've been doing and sharing this with us. It's awesome.
No, no problem. Okay. So once you've done the install and you've got a Windows icon sitting on your desktop, all you have to do is double click to enter it, and you'll see this splash screen. This can be turned off so that in the future it doesn't show. I like to show it simply because I like to know that I'm working with Vance on this. So in any case, just hit continue. Up comes the graphical interface. Graphical interface, you can basically move around through the entire system. However, if that's ever missing, you're not seeing it like this, simply go to Admin and show the startup form. That'll bring you back.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like the graphical interface, you can get rid of it, turn it off, and basically enter everything through the menus. Right? If you notice, I have deal entry on the graphical screen. Everything, everything on the graphical screen is in the menu system. I'm going to go back to the graphical screen simply because I find it the easiest way to move around. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do is set up your trading plan. Basically, to do that, simply click on Trading Plan Maintenance. Up will come either a blank trading plan, if nothing's in there yet, which you will be able to start to enter, whatever your trading plan is into. If you have a new one that you're entering,
Mm-hmm.
that's where these icons along the top come into play. If you point to them, as you see, they show you what they are. Okay, in this case, we're going to do a new one. You give it whatever ID you want. In this case, I'm just going to tell it it's new. All right. We can put into each of these areas, and they are areas of your full plan, whatever information you want about it. You can type in your entire, or actually just copy in your entire plan for whatever electronic data you have right into this screen. Over here, put in your risk percentage.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I'm 2.5. I believe that's what just about everybody is.
Yeah, let me, before you change from that, I just want to let everybody know Kevin's going to add one more field on the left that's going to be MC for market conditions. So you can list in things like time of day, high impact data rules, things of this nature.
Yep. Okay. So
right.
Once that's done, save.
And I'll just emphasize, too, you guys always hit the save button up there whenever you're changing something.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, if I'm going to put something in here, okay, if I tried to go to close it, it'll ask me because it recognized the change that was made.
Right, right.
So you can cancel saving that change or, yeah, I want to save it. Okay?
Okay.
So with that being done, I assume that you have a graphics package installed that you can view. If you don't, along with the install is InfoView. It's a nice package. That's what I use. You can set it up, and there's directions in the add-ons folder telling you, how to set that up.
So just to clarify that, just to repeat that, there's instructions on how to do this on C drive, the STS folder, and then go to add-ins, and you'll find the instructions in there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, so the next thing you want to do is you want to go into here and make sure you're telling me what program should I run when I want to run, and you want to see your graphics.
And you only have to do that one time. Once you do that, you're done.
Yeah, it's a one-time setup. Basically, this is telling you are you going to put your graphs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it can be anywhere you want. I have a folder set up on the C drive under FTS called Graphs,
Mm-hmm.
and under there you'll see, as I show you how this works, you'll see that I have multiple directories under that.
Okay.
The bitmaps directory leave where you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can put in a minimum risk. That's what maximum risk. I'm sorry. That's what it's going to use if you don't have a trading plan. Once you have a trading plan and you select it, it'll put whatever maximum risk you're using there.
Mm-hmm.
I currently have it set to display lots in standard lots. I intend to make a change that you can use the mini lots, which is what a lot of people are using.
And can you
which is
also do it to super mini lots as well? Because we have some people who are at they live at a different demographic, and so they're trading at an even lower level to start with. So if it could be like standard is $10, mini is $1, and then super mini is 10 cents, 0.10.
Yeah, I can do it. It's just going to really come down to how big the effort is.
Okay.
I haven't started on it yet, and that's not something I'm looking at now.
Okay.
In the meantime, if you've got anybody using it that are using super mini lots, it's a simple conversion to,
Okay.
To using super mini lots.
Okay.
All right. Once that's done, now we're ready to move forward and enter deals.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, basically go to deal maintenance. Okay, this is basically, it will show you the last deal you've entered. One thing I want to make certain everybody's aware of, if you simply, at this point, go to enter another deal, you'll be overriding whatever's in here. You have to click on new. Okay, at that point, pick your pair. You can utilize this drop-down box. That's what you should do because it populates a couple of fields. And in this case, we'll do a Great British Pound. Okay, you'll see it brings up Great British Pound, brings up your maximum risk. Okay, right now there's nothing in maximum lots. That'll get calculated later. You tell the system, is it a buy or a sell that you're setting up for? In this case, I'm going to set up as a buy. Currently, it gives you what the current date. If it's something you're doing for the past, you can obviously change the date to whatever date you're trying to enter this in. It's a convenient little way to do it.
Right, it might be something you didn't put it in and you took the trade yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it, but at any rate, the time, it's not necessary. I just like it so that I could see, hey, I want to be able to tell, did I have more deals go south on me because I was trading after 3 o'clock or after 4 o'clock rather than, an earlier time in my, in my plan.
Right.
Basically, when you pick the pair, it populates the spread. That spread can be modified at any time. I'll show you shortly how you change what your standard spread is. When you're setting up for the trade, if it's changed from your standard, let's say it's really 1.5, simply change it to 1.5.
Okay, cool.
But that spread defaults based on the pair maintenance, and I'll show you how to do that. Basically, you don't have to put in how many lots. I normally just start with two lots, and then I change it once the system calculates it. And then I would suggest putting in your account balance because then it'll tell you what is the maximum number of lots you can purchase based on your account balance and your maximum risk.
You know what? Earlier in the session, we were, you're able to put in 20,000. I was only able to go as high as 999.
I'm sorry. You're right. 999,000?
No, $999.
You weren't starting at the beginning of the field.
Ah, okay. So start at the beginning
start
of the field.
Over there. Right, so.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, the bug was in my head, guys.
So I'm going to put in 20,000. Okay. Once you do that, you can just tab out of it.
Okay.
So I don't really care about the cents. That's not going to make much of a difference in your maximum lot. Okay. Next thing, and this will be changed. There will be some additions here shortly, very shortly. But what we're going to do is you're going to either pick to manually enter everything, manual. You're going to calculate the entry, calculate the limit, and the last one will be calculate the loss. I'm going to set one up where we're going to calculate the limit.
So just to add in, for what they're familiar with hearing is, it'll solve for limit, solve for stop, solve for entry.
Right, and that's what it will say on this screen when
cool.
When I make that change. Matter of fact, for Vance, I started making it already.
Oh,
I just
wow.
have to do the programming behind it.
Right on.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So once you select any of these, okay, other than the manually enter all data, okay, back so you can see it again. All right. Basically, what is your win-loss ratio that you're working on? Okay. It moves, as you can see, in increments of 5. I've set it to that. Once you've got that set, we have a calculate button that is enabled. Okay. At this point, it's going to ask me for a rate, because obviously we said we're going to calculate for the limit or solve for the limit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put in a rate of 1.3456,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to put in a stop at 1.3440. Right. That's too big.
You did
Any number.
2440 instead of 3440.
Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so our stop is at 17. If I now click on calculate the limit, calculates the limit based on what the ratio you entered here is.
Mm-hmm.
It also tells you how many lots you can purchase within your risk.
Mm-hmm.
So if I now change this to 2.8, okay, it tells you how much you're risking. As you can see,
Mm-hmm.
your risk is 490. You'll be able to do that for, once again, for each of these fields and solve for any one of them that you want.
Okay, now the limit rate that it calculated for you, it actually included the spread, correct?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you simply put these numbers in and you got it.
okay, what about if we're in a buy trade? What about if we were in a sell trade? Would it give us the correct orders by adding the spread to the stop and
I believe it does. I've been looking at it, but let's do
Well,
one.
let me look at it later. Let me look at it later. That way you don't have to go
Okay.
through it. I'll actually test it and see.
Okay. Basically, once you've done that, some of the other things we could do is pick our trading plan. Now, as I said, if you're using a trading plan and you've got a different max risk, it'll bring it along. So I've got a trading plan here with a different max risk that I set up just to show it by, well, maybe I didn't change the max risk on that one. Let's see. No, I didn't. I have them all the same, I believe. But it will populate it based on that that maximum risk, and obviously then change your maximum lots, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing that we're really going to be doing, that I use the system for, I would suggest you do too, under the trade, certainly during our training phase where we're creating trading plans and we're executing against advances, reviewing it, I keep what trade am I on. We're doing it in blocks of 10, so I'm simply doing trade 1 through 10. You can do it any way you want, use it any way you want. But one of the things we've all been doing is, as we set things up, we basically take snapshots of our setups and save them. Once you save them, we can add them here so that going forward in the future you can look at them anytime you want, very simply by clicking on an icon. Well, basically, let me add one here. Let's say this is a GBP, so I'll go into GBP. I'll take one of my old setups. So I'll do an open 30-minute right there. I could do my setup for a 5-minute, put it here. While I do that, oh, wrong one. I'll go back up. And there's a 5-minute. All right. And basically, it simply saves a link to that. Now, anytime I want, I can just click on it, and it shows me that graph.
That's awesome.
Right. If you ever pull one in that you don't want, very simple. You selected the wrong one. You right-click on this, tell it to edit the entry, and by simply saying OK, this will cancel, you've deleted that link. Put it back in, simply go back in, pick the one you want, and there you go.
Cool.
Okay? Works for all of these. You can change the order. I set it up this way, not really with any rationale involved. If I were to redo it, I would have set up 30 minutes, set up 5 minutes, and then I would have open account rather than close account across the top. you can change those at your own, how, and make them whatever you want them to be. I would simply set it up one time and let it go for that. Additionally, these fields over here, user 3, user 4, and trade, you can adjust them and use them any way you want. I'll show you shortly how to do that. Okay, the next thing we've got here is basically you can go through and identify, as you see, did the trend comply with your trading plan? If you leave it blank, it didn't. If you click on it, put a check in, you did. And basically go through and say, okay, these did, the strength was the one that didn't. If you're not sure exactly what your trading plan said, so I showed you when we were setting up the trading plan, click on this button, and I don't have that trading plan.
And also, one of the things that we'll do is when we're doing in the future, when we're doing a review of your 10 trades, I'll be looking at all your trades and your trading plan, and I'll tell you whether I think it fit your trading plan or not. And then one of the things that we used to do is we would put that in a manual spreadsheet, and then it would basically recalculate how you would have done in your account with your money had you taken the correct trades versus the incorrect trades.
Yeah. So, as you see, I picked up a trading plan that actually has something in it, and by clicking on that, it gives me my trading plan, so I can review it if I don't remember something. But hopefully you remember it, or you shouldn't be doing a trade, I would think. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think everybody's just learning how important the trading plan is.
Yeah, well, you kind of pounded that in pretty well. So I really try to stick with it. I blow it occasionally looking at things, but at any rate, so you've got that done. Put in whatever notes you have to give you an idea. I use my notes. Basically, this is what I end up posting onto your website, Vance, if you notice. I basically put it all in here, and then I just copy and paste. That makes it real easy for me to do it. That way, when I'm setting it up, I can just go, okay, copy this, paste it here, et cetera. So it makes it easy for me to, to do it. I hate showing you that one. It was so lost. Let's see. There we go. That was a good trade. Now, let me go through some of these other buttons on the top, because this is basically the key to the entire system, these icons along the top. Okay? Basically, you can send things to a printer. Don't open up the report manager here. I wouldn't really worry about that at this point. First one I'm going to tell you, you can find something specific. You want to allow you to find by a date or a deal ID. The deal ID is something you would only see if you look in at the data. So basically, if you want to, search for a particular date, that'll help you search for it. We have a find screen where you can turn around and say, I want to find something, that, meets whatever criteria you want, pretty much for the most. So I want to see any deal that I lost with euro. Okay, and it will bring back those two that I had, 2 euro losers. And pick the one I want. Okay, and there it is.
And this will be really useful when we use later on. We can export it and show line graphs, and it makes it really easy to see what you're doing well and what you're doing poorly.
Yeah. Okay, so that's simple find, and as I say, you can create any condition you want. For the most part, there are some limitations. But basically, you want a new condition. This is test condition. So I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to pick whatever field you want out of it. I wouldn't use a notes field simply because trying to find this specific note isn't going to be real helpful to you.
Right.
But, that's however you want to use it. Is up to you. All right?
And guys, I just want to point out, guys, we're going to be, maybe once in a month we'll get together on a conference line to discuss questions, maybe a little bit on the live sessions. But we're going to have a group, and you guys will see it pop up in the forums where we're using the software and we have questions. Hey, how does this work again? I'm not really sure what you meant. We'll be able to get those questions answered.
Okay. So in this case, just to give you an example of how it works, I selected stop pips. I want when my stop pips is greater than or equal to 22.
Mm-hmm.
Say, okay. I'll save the condition. And those were all of the trades I had where the stop was greater than 22.
That's very cool.
Okay? And I say, and you can nest them. You can have, I want this to be greater than 22 and lost or and won.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So
Right.
you can, build on any of those conditions you want.
Yeah, how many trades did I lose when it was 20 pips or more? How many did I win when it was 20 pips or more? I guess
Right.
It's going to bring up the individual trades that you lost, individual trades that you won.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay? So that's something you want to play with it. It doesn't actually affect data. Play with it. See how you like to use it. Basically, here we can set a filter. In this case, I'm going to set a filter to
Lost deals pairs pretty good.
okay. Okay, lost by on a euro. Okay? And now, when I click in this box, this is a list of all trades, all deals, unless there's a filter. Then it's only the deals that meet that filter.
Mm-hmm.
I have two in that case.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to change the filter, I'll turn that off, turn it back on again, and where was he? Lost deals by pair, and I want to change the euro. So you'll notice I've got it nested here. I'm going to change that to, we'll do Great British Pound, GBP, tell it okay. We'll save that change. And now, I think there's only one of those. All right?
Mm-hmm.
By turning that off again, I get all of my trades.
And I can see that I can come up with a list of filters that we would use to quickly look around at how they did with their 10, but also go look at the last 30. Let's look at these filters and see how you're doing with the Kiwi, how you're doing with the Australian, how you're doing when you're going for those little tighter ranges with 20 pip ranges versus 25.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you want to look at your last 30. That would be a perfect use. That told you I used a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, trading plan, is equal to 3.2.1, or greater than or equal to 3.2.1.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, it would give me .1, .2, .3. And that would give me my last 30 if I was into.
So you're defining each series of trade with a series of 10 by its own trading plan name.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Nobody else has to do
And
that.
what does that trade box mean? It's just the trade numbers,
That's
number
just
2, number 21.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. That's what's
Okay.
my next trade,
Okay.
And I'm doing it, my trade for this trading plan.
Right. So then you could start all over at 1 through 10.
Yeah, but if nobody has to do it that way, that's just what I'm doing.
Sure,
If you don't want to use that and you want to use this field for something else, go right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you how to use that field for something else.
Okay.
The only one I would suggest you don't change is this. That trading plan is important, leaving it there, because that has, a search criteria, and it's basically being validated. It has to be something in the trading plan list. So by changing the name of it isn't going to change the data that it holds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And basically, as you see, this is one that I lost. Basically, I selected, these are the possible things you could have as a result. You could talk to, Vance about the early exit. I'm not allowed to use that.
I already explained on the call that was something that Kevin does. So that's all I had to say about that.
Well, I'm not allowed. He spanked me. for that.
Early exit is something that will come into play for some people later, so we'll definitely teach it. I know a really great trader. He liked a lot of action. He was very aggressive. If the price was not moving in his favor very quickly, he would take an early exit and look for another one.
Right. So anyway, in this case, as you see, I lost it. So that's what I selected. Put in how much I lost, and then basically you can move on add in, the post-close. Because I like to, on most of them, I do have what did it look like after it closed, so I can see if that gives me any insight in the future.
Yeah, which is we all do that, before and after pictures. And I wanted to say one more thing about that early exit. Every person in level 4 trading a live account, if you're in a trade and we're coming up on the close on Friday and you're not out of your trade, you're going to early exit that trade because you're not going to hold that position over the weekend.
Glad to hear it. So, okay. Let's move back up to the top here. Basically, this I can change the order of which they are displayed in my list. So, this is my list. As you can see right now, they're by pair, and then I believe by date after that. Yeah, yeah, pair and date. Okay, but you can change that if you'd like, and you could pick on. I just want to use. I don't know if they're by sell. And now when you do it, the buys, it wasn't changed. I'm not sure why. I'll check it out. Yes, I didn't. Pair by date. We'll just do purely date time. That should work without any problem. Nope, it's still doing it, but then I'm not sure why that's not working. I'll check it out. That's not something I changed, so that's why I haven't realized there's an error there. Okay, I'll just move on from there. Basically, this brings you to the next record.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Or first record, last record, back one, etc.
Well, that's really easy.
Yeah. Obviously, new. You have the ability to do a new copy. Okay, it'll take most of the things that are in here and copy them over. You can do it. I find it's annoying as hell because there are certain things that you don't really want it to copy, and they're going to be there. So I would suggest you not utilizing it, but that's up to you.
Let me ask you a question on that, Kevin. Let's say, for example, they set up a trade. It's gone up. It's starting to retrace to 23.6. They put all their numbers in, and that darn price moves up higher. Wouldn't that be a? Would you just go ahead and change the one that you're working on? Well, let me put it another way. Let's say you set it all up for an entry order, and you come back 2 hours later and it doesn't trigger, and you have to redo your orders. Would that be a good?
Yeah, then I would just change what's in here.
Oh, okay. You just change that. Don't go ahead and create a new record. Just change that.
Right. Yeah, because we never got into the order, et cetera. So
okay.
I'll just go ahead and change it.
Yeah, just change your entry rate and stop and limit. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's why I'm sure you've seen my, I'll have like trade 2A
right.
and 2B because I've set some up. I posted it onto your system and then came back later and say, oh, it's no good. Try it again. Or actually, what I get yelled at for was early exiting. Because a lot of times if I don't see it, I'm not hanging around, to rebuild it. So
a early exit is an important principle in life. I'm going to acknowledge that. Sometimes you need to know when to leave early.
Right. My personal life, I'm just recently learning when to leave early. I'm always the last person to leave a party. So. Okay. Basically, that's that. So, as I say, new. I wouldn't use the copy command, but it's up to you. Do it. Play around with it. I find it more annoying than it's worthwhile.
Okay.
You can delete a record. And what we'll do here is let's go to this one that I did change the order. So that's not the one. Go back in. That's the easiest. This was the one I was just playing with. I'll delete it. Gone.
And then it goes back to your most recent trade?
Yep. Goes to the next prior one.
Right on.
Okay.
And that's kind of nice too because you just a lot of things. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's all kind of preset anyway.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I do might be helpful for you. so that I don't automatically go in when I'm trying to set up a new trade and overwrite anything. I've set up this trade and I posted it, onto Vance's website, etc., The Art of War. What I'll do is I'll simply create a new one. There you do.
I didn't
Save
get the
that.
context of that. You went and
Well, I'm going to get rid of this then.
okay.
Okay? This is the first one I came into because that's the last deal that I entered.
Right.
Okay? But one of the things that, as I said, if you just start typing here, start changing things, you're changing an existing record.
Right.
So what I do to make sure that I don't overwrite anything that's important, once I set up a trade and I've entered it,
Yeah.
I create basically a blank trade.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So
So
you
basically I
just
do this.
immediately create the next trade.
Right. I'll save it.
Yeah.
That way, if I come in tomorrow or an hour later or 3 hours later, go into deal maintenance, it's going to bring up that new trade
Gotcha.
that has nothing in it yet. And say it's 2 hours later, go to this, you completed successfully, I can do whatever I have to.
It's minimizing the risk of overriding a former record
Right.
you want. Gotcha.
Yep, that's the only reason I have that. Okay, now, one of the final things I'm going to show you is how to change what a lot of things on the screen actually say. For instance, I'll do user 3 and user 4. Okay, we'll change them to be something you might want to use it for. In order to do that, and if you have trouble, don't just go in and willy-nilly change things. You can contact me and I'll walk you through it.
Well, we'll have that forum where they can type in their question and then you can check with them there.
Okay, yeah, that'll work fine. But basically what we're going to do is I'm going to go into admin and go down to the data manager, which is right here. Okay, I'm going to go into the Forex tables, and you'll see this is the deal master. Basically, Vance had asked me at one time, why do I have an F in front of all of these tables? It's simply because it was Forex. In order to keep everything, together in one group and make it easy for me to see, basically for purposes of developing the system and whatnot, I knew I could just go to F and find one of the tables that I needed.
Okay.
But basically what we're going to do is we go into here, and you'll notice here is all of the...
There it is, user
Field.
3, user 4.
Yeah, so let's go to user 3, and you'll see it says user 3. Now I'm going to edit it. And what would you like it to say? I'm going to... And actually, the long description is what it puts on the form. So let's change the long description to... Yeah... Yeah, just special 1. How's that?
Okay. Special one.
Okay. It's done. I can move on to the next one. So see, it's there. Okay. I'll show you a couple of other things, too, that may come in helpful when you set these up. But first, we'll show you that. So
I was thinking they
close
could
that up.
actually create one for fear and greed. So if they're about to take the trade because they're feeling greed, then they can start to click that box and they go, well, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to take this.
Oh, let's do that. That's excellent because if nothing else, it'll show me what I was just talking about. I'll be able to utilize that very well.
Yeah, let's
So,
use greed.
and we're going to change it to greed. Okay. Next back. That's there. Okay. You can change it here. Short description is if this field is ever used in a grid, it'll use the short description.
Okay.
And a grid is basically when you do the lookups.
Okay.
But so now you'll notice it now says greed. Point. So now you can put in greed, yes, no, whatever you want. How is it you would want to utilize that field? What are you going to put into it, Vance? You're going to put in greed or fear. Those going to be your
Greed,
options?
fear, euphoria, carelessness.
Okay. So what we'll do is let's go back to user 3,
It could,
edit.
well, technically, it could
There
be
you go.
emotions, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's change it to
Right,
emotions.
to,
this time.
to emotions, and then you could be descript.
So it's emotion. Now I'm going to go to integrity. Okay, under integrity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a set.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to create a new one. And the value is going to be greed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And,
That's GERD.
yep.
Okay.
And the description, which is just for show when you're doing it.
Eager, hungry, hopeful. I am greedy. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
put a new one in, and
Silly. Yeah, that works. Silly.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking it seriously. I feel silly.
and another one,
Fear.
which I'll
I'm afraid. Yeah, it's what you feel. That's really the thing. That's really good. Okay.
Okay, so that's done. I can simply move off of that. Now, when I go in, it doesn't really fit all that well. I can make it bigger, but you'll notice this over here.
Mm-hmm. Ah, cool.
And
Can we
we'll force you
can
to
I
use
put a list of like 13 emotions in there, and they can choose more than one?
No, this would be a single.
To be the primary
Single.
emotion. Okay.
Now, you can use more than one of these for emotions.
Sure.
You know, if that's something you should desire.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So basically, you can change this field, and this field to anything you want.
Yeah, user
Additionally, you
four.
can do the same
User
thing.
4. It'll be alcohol, no alcohol.
Yeah. I'm all for the with alcohol.
And by the way, on emotions, we can probably just go ahead and put in there fatigued. Fatigued is a very revealing one, because over a course of 100 trades, if you typed in that you were fatigued, you'll notice that you do very poorly in those trades. You make more mistakes.
Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to, for my next iteration, which will be soon, I'll make this, actually, I can make it a little bit bigger, so
There you go.
outside the line, yeah, I don't like that. Got to look right, too. So, but I'll add some room there for you. Basically, do the exact same thing with each of these fields.
You know what? I really like this because, being able to describe what they were experiencing emotionally and seeing a graph over time could be very interesting.
Yeah. And that's basically the system. As I said, you can change these right now. I have picture 6 here. If you want, go back to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Admin, data manager, go to my tables, deals, go over. Oop, I just passed it. Picture 6, and change whatever I want.
And if you're single, go ahead and put a field in for single. And when you get married, then you can look later on and see how you're doing. You know, all the trades I've
Very
won
telling
since.
how successful you are.
Oh man.
Okay.
Funny.
The other thing is that I had discussed earlier. 2 more things I want to go through.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the pair maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
It comes set up. You can change it any time. Remember, I told you the default.
Right.
Mine I've got set for 2. If you normally are trading and it's normally around 1.6 or 1.8, feel free to change it. That will be the default that comes up when you pick the pair.
Mm-hmm. And just to answer a question, I know I'm going to get. Can we put a pip value in for the pound yen? Even if you could, I don't care to answer that question.
I can put in a value, but it won't calculate properly.
Yeah. There you go.
So, truthfully, because the biggest problem with using anything when the U.S. dollar is in the base pair is it changes, the values of everything change as the price changes, because we've got to convert everything back to U.S. dollars in order for it to mean anything.
Right.
So it's really an absolute, horror show to try to do it.
Okay.
Now, final thing is export. Well, actually, there are two more. I'll show you the report manager also. Export data to Excel. Basically, you come up. First thing you're going to want to do is select the fields. Right now, these fields aren't going to mean a damn thing to you for a while till you get used to using the system. But basically, that's one of the places where you can actually see the deal ID. It's nothing you need. It's just for internal tracking to make sure there are never duplicates.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what I'm interested in is buy or sell. I don't really care about the calculation types. What was the date? The description, but yeah, I'll throw that in just for this. What's the entry rate?
Mm-hmm.
The limit rate?
Yeah, so we could add in range of advance. That would be in the notes for now, but we could add in range of advance. That would give us some really interesting visuals later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a field specifically for that now, but we could use one of those user-defined fields for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem. So for now, let's say it's just that's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
And say okay. Now you can filter. I'll give 3 filters per. Basically, I want it only for something that only loses. Let's say. So I want the result is equal to. And I'm going to put in just an L.
While you're doing that, I want to tell these guys. One of our guys, who's he's a fund trader. He trades a pretty significant amount of money, and he's an Excel guy. And he could tell you on what week of the year, on what hour of the day, how likely he was to win a particular trade on any day of the year. That's how far you guys can take this.
Okay, so at any rate, basically, then you can do and, or, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that now. You can build them as you see fit. Once you've got that all done, next thing is where are you going to save the file to the Excel file. Clicking on this brings up a window. You can pick whatever location you want. Okay. In this case, why don't I pick? Just leave it an FTS in that location, and I'll make it KM1 as the file name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to create the command, and you can look at the SQL. If you don't know SQL, it'll teach you a little bit. Basically, I'm selecting each of the fields that I'm selecting from, as you saw before, FDeals database, where won and lost is equal to L. I'm going to put it into a temporary cursor, and then I'm going to copy that cursor to the file that you just identified here. So I'm going to run it, and there's my FTS right there, and there's my KM1 spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's basically all the information you need.
Guys, this will be, something these kinds of things we'll be really looking at more, level 3 trades 30 and on, just really kind of extracting data and look at it, looking for trends and tendencies.
But in the meantime, that's, how that works. And I've already played with it, quite a bit because I love, Excel. That was basically a program similar to Excel, how I started programming. So I really enjoy it. As you can see, I've got your calculator. I've got that to check to make sure that my calculations are correct when I'm doing your, making these changes. So
Cool.
that's why that was up. Next thing is Report Manager.
By the way, remind me to show you the Excel spreadsheet that we created for professional traders sometime.
Okay. So basically what I have here, you'll have all these. Most of them you don't really need. This will just show any activity, but this will show you what attached files by deal pair. And basically, if I do that and I preview it, this tells me these are the graphs. So on this, the U.S. Aussie, U.S., basically it's showing me I have these 4 files, JPEG files, connected to that date.
That date, September.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's showing me in that case. Why, I don't know why you would want to use it. I've used it because I'm keeping things in a bunch of different locations, so I want to know from my real trading what's real and what's not, what I can delete, what I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, let's just look at all deals. I'll run it, and you can, once again, use whatever search criteria you want. So I'm going to say I only want deals that were 1. Okay? Preview it, and it'll give me a list of each of the deals. Here's my entry, my stop,
Nice.
my limit, etc. So it goes through that. You'll see right now it's set up for, this will be multi-pages.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through each of them, and it tells you at the end of each grouping. So, for instance, the euro just ended here. Okay? Completed deals I made $1,016 on. Whoop, shouldn't have done that. I clicked on it. Made $1,016. Didn't have any early exit. So all told, I made $1,016 on that. If I go to GBP, to the end of that, next page. Okay, I made $1,590 on it. Didn't have any early exits. Well, New Zealand, etc. The last thing it's going to show you at the bottom of everything after you've gone through the groups is in total. You made $4,064. No early exits. Obviously, that's because I selected only winning deals. Okay.
Right.
makes me look a bit better. If I get rid of that and then I run it, you'll see. I know Vance is going to be upset, but I'm not perfect. So basically, all of my completed deals, gotten that. Okay, and that because there's been losers in there, balancing things out. Part of my learning.
Mm-hmm.
I've been profitable to the tune of $391 on those that I did exit early before I got spanked, and now we're okay. Okay? So now, one of the other things you can do here is you can create.
And just to kind of do away with what he said, I'm not concerned about losing at all. Go ahead.
Basically, you can create a new report. So we'll just do one here.
Winning and losing just really isn't in my vocabulary much.
Well, because you haven't taken some of the trades I have.
I probably have, actually. Just a while ago,
So, at any rate, okay. Is this now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this. I'm going to give it a title. So, test report.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to edit it. And do I want a blank one? Yeah, I'll take a blank one. Okay. And what I can do is I can start creating a report. So basically, I've set up my data environment, add a table to it, and I'm going to go to the Forex database.
You were a little over my head before, and now I can't even see you in the sky.
Well, just to let you know, reports can be created within it using any of the data that we've got. And if somebody comes up with a report that they can't figure out how to do, not a problem. If you want to try to create a report, you can create all the reports you want. It's not going to damage anything. It doesn't change anything in the system. So, if you are familiar with various report writers, go ahead and do it.
Okay, great.
How's that? I won't go any further.
Well, yeah, you guys can play around with it. What I see happening is Brendan going, hey, here's the data I pulled out of the system, and somebody says, how did you do that? Well, I used these steps.
Right. Well, actually, I could see, if down the road people are using it, certain people create various reports, sharing them with others.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I've got this report definition. Here's a copy of it.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Okay. So once again, you create reports. Once you create the reports, you can add in whatever sort criteria or filter criteria you want,
Mm-hmm.
and run those reports. And then the reports can obviously just be sent to the screen. It can be sent to a printer, create a PDF file, whatever.
And when I do a review, I'm going to want this report, and this report,
All right. So
Very cool.
if you want, people are interested. One of the other things I should mention is, once again, if you look into your FTS folder, you'll see the add-ins. Okay, I don't have it all in mind, so I'll show you what yours looks like. Add-ins. This is what comes down with it, with the exception of that because I've got it open right now. Okay? Basically, there's full documentation of the system in Word format. Okay, so all of the things that I just showed you how to do are in there. Okay, I wouldn't suggest reading the whole thing because it's fairly large, but it is there. There's also installation instructions.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it in a new version of Word or also a PDF file. So let's just open the PDF real quick. So when you go into the instructions, basically these are the things that you basically have to do. So you notice Vance told everybody to copy this file
Mm-hmm.
from the add-ins to the FTS directory. So this is everything basically that you would, for the most part, have to do. One of the guy I was working with earlier, trying to help him, it didn't register the OCX file for him for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through with him how to do that. But this basically tells you how to do it. The only thing it's not telling you is how to enter a command prompt. For anyone that doesn't know how to and would, needs to, basically click on Start. In here, just type in CMD. You'll notice this comes up. You might have seen this before and thought of it as a DOS prompt, but it's really a command window. Right-click on it, click Run as Administrator, and there you are. And you simply do what it says there, type in what it says, because you can't copy and paste into here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you basically copy this file, and at the command prompt, which is this, type that in, it will register for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I'm agreeing that he's probably right.
I did it on your system.
Yeah.
All right? So, just for everyone's, information, that's there. Here are the files. Those are the two. And I also have, if you have XP and you don't have a good snipping tool, there's a copy of one that, I find, for XP works pretty well. Certainly use any one that you've got.
And-
This you are allowed.
And the viewers
everybody's
there,
allowed
and the
to
viewers there as well.
Yes, which is this. Now, I use that simply because you can't use, in my system, the Windows viewer. Unfortunately, the reason is I can't call it directly from my program. Windows doesn't allow that.
Mm-hmm.
It's related to the type of file, so that you can click on that JPEG or TIFF image, or whatever, and it'll automatically run the Windows version, but it doesn't allow me to call it and send it a file name. So that's why I had to pick a different viewer.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think mine works better because it allows you to do a little bit more, to give you an idea. Let's go to one that has something in it here. Okay. Okay. Once I'm in here, I can really make it big if I want. Scroll through it. I think it just seems to present things and make things a little bit clearer for me. No, at any rate,
That's awesome.
that's the reason.
Well, hey, congratulations on your work here, Kevin. This is just, I don't know if everybody really fully grasps the implications of what this is going to do for our ability to see how well we're doing. I mean, it looks to be a way to calculate and store your trade pictures, but it's really so much more than that. And as we use it over the next year, I think everybody's going to understand, like, wow, this really gives us incredible insights.
And within the next week or two at the most, I'll have these other changes ready for you. As far as how it calculates, that will all be done, and I'll should have the changes to the trading plan done also. Neither of them are terribly difficult, but I wanted to do a little bit of testing for the calculations to make sure they're right before I send them over. I think they should be. And Vance, it'd be great if you put in some trades basically to make sure what I've got in there now is calculating properly.
Yeah. There's a couple of people who are, like calculation minds. I'm sure they're going to use it and tell us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure it is calculated properly, but it's certainly, I would be, happy if you would check and
Absolutely,
and make sure.
we definitely will, and we'll have that group where people can ask questions and share ideas, and then you can check in on that too. And basically, if I see something that we need to pass on to you, I'll basically copy and paste and shoot you an email.
Okay. And once again, I apologize to everybody that was on earlier. I don't know what was going on that I couldn't access the meeting, but I apologize, and we'll, move past it.
Yeah, I didn't actually address that. For those who were there, Kevin was actually trying to join but couldn't, and so we don't know why it just happened the way it did. Maybe it was so everybody would have this wonderful recording they could watch anytime they want.
Now I'm, not only do you just get to hear my voice, if you want, you can go on the web and you can see me, because I did a customer testimonial for a local solar company.
All right.
So you can see me too. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, that means I can save the image and upload it into the group forum, so I'll just do that.
Okay. If anybody has questions, I'm not sure how it's going to work going forward. I know Vance is going to set something up, but in the meantime, Vance, if they want to send you, issues, whether it be, installing or whatever, you can, forward them to me. And I won't say that I'll get back to you the next day, or the next hour, but I will reply to them.
All right. Well, we really appreciate it, Kevin, and thank you so much for the work you've done here. It's really awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Kevin, hold on just a second.